Happy flipping birthday, Jurassic Park. Wow, 28 or so years now? It's been that old? Wow. This movie obviously came out years before I was even born, in 1993, while I was born in 2004, so I didn't have much childhood nostalgia of it, but I did grow up with it later on in my mid-kid era, sort of, and boy, do I appreciate it far more than I did back then. I liked it. Here's the funny thing is that when I was a young kid, the first thing that came to mind of Jurassic Park was the Lost World and an image of a parking lot like at Walmart or something like that, and then the T Rex escaping on the mainland. I could barely even remember much of the first movie, but when one day, kind of in the afternoon, sort of, I was in the living room all alone, and all of a sudden on the guide I noticed Jurassic Park. I noticed Jurassic Park. Clicked on it, and it was at the scene where the T Rex is already eating the goat. You see it swallow it, and then looking down right at Gennaro, right? Yeah, Gennaro, that's right. And I was wanting to, like, I was hiding behind the chair a little bit, like, oh my gosh, this is so scary, and ran out to the sliding door in our kitchen and telling my dad, hey, Jurassic Park is on, yay! Ran back, and I really enjoyed myself watching it. This was not the first time I had seen it, obviously. I knew I had seen it before, but I can't recall when that was or what happened or anything like that. And afterwards, I liked it and appreciated it, saw the later films later on, and that could be saved for a later date. And there was a time period where I almost, like, I don't know, even hated the film for some reason. And it wasn't really my fault. It was more so people on the internet, all those movie mistake channels and cinema sins and uh, inaccuracy channels and stuff like that. And of course, even though he somewhat says he likes the movie, Nostalgia Critic's awful, and I mean awful, video on Jurassic Park. And it's funny because I was actually watching a few more recent Nostalgia Critic videos, and they seem to be improved a little bit compared to other ones. It's like whenever he's not talking about something I care about, he seems to get things right. Like, he explains Ghostbusters 2 so perfectly, but when it comes to, like, Jurassic Park stuff, he's such a colossal failure on so many levels. Which, by the way, Ghostbusters is also awesome. Haven't seen the films in a long time, but man, I love the first movie, and second one I have a slight soft spot for, too. But anyways, about Jurassic Park. It's about Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler visiting, and as well as a few other people visiting a dinosaur-themed resort park or whatever that's yet to be opened. That's being ran by the visionary John Hammond on Isla Nublar. And of course, you know the story. Hell goes haywire, and everything breaks out, and chaos ensues. People die. Awesome movie. You may think, okay, that's about it. Cool dinosaurs. But it's not stop motion or just puppets. No, these are huge animatronics and CGI that was groundbreaking and changed the landscape of films far afterwards. And it's such an important film to cinema and society in general, and I appreciate it so much for that. And it was based off of a novel written by Michael Crichton and took 3 years to make and was directed by Steven Spielberg. And I love people's performance in this movie. Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm is an enjoyable as heck person, and Richard Attenborough was so enjoyable to watch, though not exactly at all like his novel counterpart, which was an asshole. I love Laura Dern as Ellie Sattler. I love Sam Neill as Alan Grant, etc., etc., etc. And how can I forget to mention, I have had it with these mother dinos on this mother island. He was also in this film, of course. And boy, is he enjoyable. Hold on to your bricks. I mean, butts. There was a lot of Lego parodies of this movie that are enjoyable, and I remember them saying that once. Also, that Newman guy, I think he's from Seinfeld as well. He also plays the movie's kind of villain, too. And he's also so enjoyable and important to the story. And boys, his death scene awesome, and I just love it as well. And no, that is not a cartoon sound effect that was added. That was apparently the cable being torn. Or not torn, but, like, being drawn up against the metal, like... That's not, like, his feet slipping. No, that's the cable, okay? So yeah, the Spitter, or Dilophosaurus as it actually is really enjoyable, even though it's most likely not accurate, and it's most likely a juvenile, and hopefully in Jurassic World Evolution 2, or Dominion, or whatever, we'll see properly sized Dilophosauruses. And don't you dare say if there will be and all. I want to say if it's for surprises, okay? Don't you dare say a word. Don't say Sam Neill's coming back. Don't say Spinosaurus is returning. Don't say we're getting feathered dinosaurs or we're going to Islasaur. Don't say crap. Don't you dare say a word. I want to say as far in the deep blank pit of Mariana Trench, Phasework Tunnel darkness as possible when it comes to knowing about that stuff about that movie that's coming. Maybe a bit about the game, but I do want to keep stuff about it in mind, like I did yesterday with my video that barely anybody has seen. Please go watch that. But yeah, this movie has so many fun scenes. The raptors in the kitchen sequence is so enjoyable and entertaining, and one of them gets locked up in a freezer. And I love the T-Rex killing the last raptors. Raptors, actually, yeah. That's super fun. I love the shots of the helicopters. I love the Triceratops scene and Ellie taking good care of it. We don't really know of the fate of it. It probably died. I don't know. I haven't looked at the DPG stuff in a while. And there's also the egg scene, which is also enjoyable. Jeff Goldblum's character gives some tons of good laughs during the scene. We were given lots of information and many good lines from Alan Grant as well. We're introduced to Dr. Wu as well, who's an important character now for sure. There was also a character who was near the trikes. I forgot his name, but he had a much more prominent role in the film. I mean, in the novel, which the novel is also pretty dang awesome and apparently better than the book, which makes sense. They have to cut out a lot of stuff and maybe perhaps soften it a little bit and all, because the book was dark as all heck and all. Nedry's death scene was way darker and all than you can imagine. Just go watch a illustration audiobook thing and all. I can maybe link it for you guys. It's really cool. So yeah, it's really dang dark. So yeah, they had to tone it down a bit. I think it was originally supposed to be a kid's movie or something like that, or from the mind of a kid. That didn't really happen, obviously, but in Jurassic World, we kind of get that a bit, of course. So yeah, that's cool. And the kids in this are also enjoyable, and we see them in the Lost World. And also, I love the crawling through the ceiling sequence, all the scenes of them trying to reboot the park and getting up back online. The T-Rex breakout is one of the best climactic scenes in all of film history. Ellie getting attacked by the raptor, and also as a kid, I had no idea that what's his face, Mr. Arnold actually died. I had no idea that was his hand, and when she was saying Mr. Arnold, I didn't know that's what she was talking about. I thought that was Muldoon's arm for some reason, a kid, and that Mr. Arnold, black guy, I've had it with these mother effing dinos, got off of the island and all, like with the others and stuff like that. No idea that he died, mostly because it was off screen, of course. So yeah, that's pretty dang dark and just more interesting stuff. And no, I do not care about the inaccuracies. Stupid websites and channels and stuff on TV and articles and scientists and stuff like that and all. There's reasons for why the dinosaurs look that way, and stop complaining about that of all things, for God's sakes. You can complain about other things and all, but just stop talking about that all the time. I do have a few Jurassic Park toys, which I didn't really get out for you, but here's some random dinosaurs I have. Can't get them out because they're stuffed in the way, like always. The music for this movie is incredible. The Lost World also has some great music. Jurassic World has some amazing, uplifting music and some awesome action-packed music, like the Welcome to Jurassic World theme. But the Jurassic Park music is so iconic and important. There are 7 different species. I love the Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus as well. Such an important sequence. The effects haven't really held up, in my opinion. When I saw them as a kid, I wasn't too amazed by them. Not really feeling the urge to critique stuff back then, but I didn't always feel like they were there at times. But the animatronics are really darn awesome, and the effects still do look good in some scenes, but they did improve the Lost World. Jurassic Park 3 has some good stuff, but some debatable. Jurassic World doesn't always look perfect, but it does look better in my opinion. Fallen Kingdom is probably the best, and as well as other good things about this film. The sound design is awesome. Gennaro's death is hilarious. Ian is, again, always funny as always. I love the clever girl line. And I also went on the Universal Studios ride years ago, and we went down to Florida. Good times, I must say. And I love the T-Rex roar. It's so iconic as well. Them climbing the fence and them watching the Gallimimuses in the field. And, what else? The imagery of Grant holding the flare is also iconic, and I love the cliff sequence. It's also tense, even if a tad bit unrealistic, but I don't really care, to be honest. And before you say they could get out of the way of the car falling down the tree or whatever, no, they would get hit by it still, so they have to keep going. And as for where the cliff came from, go watch Clayton Fierdy's video on that, which Clayton also rocks, and this movie inspired games like J-Pog, which I love so much. I love the deep messaging and symbolism and metaphors of the film, and its very important themes. I love that so much. There's also a weird memory that I feel like Clayton also brought up in another video about Jurassic Park 3, where he imagined the baby pterosaurs falling down the cliffs or whatever. And some people also had the idea of the T-Rex breaking through the building or whatever, and there was a shot missing. I always thought that there was a scene where when they're climbing through the ceiling, the raptor breaks up through the top and then bangs its head on a pipe and falls down. That obviously never happened. Stuff like this happens with your brain a lot of the times, guys. So yeah, I love Jurassic Park. It's such a great film and it inspired such a great franchise that means so much to me. Plus, dinosaurs, of course. And yeah, plenty of other great people I know love this movie, and it's so iconic and impactful and marketable. It really is great. Happy birthday, Jurassic Park. You deserve all the love you get.